My son Jack is going to be 2 soon. His mom Annie has a complicated history and how this all happened. Her husband passed away and 3 months after that, we slept together. We were barely friends at the time, so I didn't know until after our first night together that she'd recently become a widow. But she told me she was really lonely and just enjoyed that physical connection. So for about 8 months that's how it was, didn't see each other too often. Then we found out she was pregnant. She wanted to go through with the pregnancy and I fully supported her if that was what she wanted. The thing was she still had a lot of grief and when my son was born it was hard for her to connect with him. She said she felt guilty having a baby with another man after losing her husband. By the time Jack was 4 months she hadn't gotten any better and her mental health completely deteriorated. I took over with him full time after this since she wasn't in the best place to be a mother. Annie still visited a few days out of the week for a short period, but I was doing most the childcare while she went to therapy. Then she was in the hospital for a while. She couldn't come over much during COVID except for video chats, so she's essentially become a stranger to him. 3 months ago she started coming around more after not seeing him for a while. She's on antidepressants, and therapy's helped her a lot. Now she's more set on being a mom, and we're slowly reintroducing him to her. My sister hasn't been happy about this. I know she's upset on my behalf as I struggled a bit as a single parent. She knows the situation that happened with her, but still thinks she shouldn't be allowed back into Jack's life after abandoning him. And yeah, I get her feelings, but since Annie's in a better place mentally then I want to give a shot at Jack having a mom around. I still have my guard up obviously, and we're taking it one day at a time, but I see how different she is with him now. My sister hasn't stopped making comments no matter how many times I've told her to knock it off. She dropped by unannounced when Annie was here and was very openly hostile right in front of Jack. Annie offered to leave and then my sister jokes, "Make sure you come back this time." I told her to leave and not come back until she can act right with the mother of my child. My sister is offended that I'm taking her side by kicking her out of my house since she's only angry on my behalf and it was a joke she made. That's why she thinks I'm an idiot. For me, I was thinking I'd rather get her out as soon as possible before saying something else in front of my son. Was I being an idiot? Not the idiot. You know whose side you're on. Jack's. You're doing what needs to be done for your child. Sister needs to understand that disrespecting his parents will ultimately hurt Jack. No one should have to listen to one of their parents be disparaged by someone else. It hurts. If your sister truly cares about your son, she'll knock off the idiot behavior towards his mom. What a good dad you are. Your son's mom has obviously had a very hard time, and to be fair you hardly know the woman, but have been extremely supportive and acting in the best interests of your child and his mother. Your sister is not acting in the best interests of her nephew at all. I can understand why she is annoyed on your behalf, but if she loves her nephew, she should be more understanding of his mother's mental health problems instead of dismissing that woman has had an extremely traumatic time, then struggling with the guilt of moving on quickly and having a child with someone else. Hope everything works out well soon. Your sister sounds awful. You are doing your best for Jack, and it sounds like Annie is too. Annie is sick, and your sister needs to realize this. She didn't abandon your son, she made sure the baby was going to be cared for and then went to care for herself. No one has the right to judge Annie as they haven't been in her situation. I say you and Annie carry on as you are. It sounds like you both want the best for everyone and push your sister and her nasty mouth out of your life. Appreciate all the words and advice on my last post. There has been some new changes regarding the situation that happened before with my sister and Annie, so decided to leave a little update. Many of you were right about my sister's negativity possibly affecting the relationship between Annie and Jack. It's also reassuring to know that we were making the right call here. The last thing I wanted was to make Annie feel bad for things that were out of her control. At first when I talked to my sister we got nowhere. I even brought up what some of you said here. Would she feel the same if Annie had been in the hospital getting treatment for cancer or some other physical disease or illness? My sister claimed that's not the same thing, and we had to have a deeper conversation on why it is exactly the same thing. Annie was not in the right place mentally to be a fit parent and decided to get help. There was no need for her hostility towards Annie now that she's gotten the treatment she needs, and we're taking steps to bring her back into Jack's life. My sister and I still didn't see eye to eye, so that's when I made the decision that she wouldn't be allowed around us for a while and stuck with the same condition I made in my original post. We didn't talk for almost 2 months, then I guess my sister finally realized I wasn't gonna budge, so she agreed she'd be more nicer to Annie and won't talk badly about her in front of Jack. Thought this meant things would turn around, but unfortunately it didn't end that way. Even after giving her a second chance, she still couldn't hold back from sending a message to Annie, letting her know she's only doing this for me, but she will never be okay with her, called her a terrible mother among other things. She was counting on Annie not to show me this, since it would cost her son his aunt like it said in her message. Oh yeah, I was pissed. Another talk with her later, I decided she's not having any contact with us at all. As much as it pains me, I can't have that kind of negativity around my son or his mother. Their relationship has been rebuilding nicely, and this is a crucial time for all of us. We don't need the extra drama. On a positive note, Jack has really warmed up to his mom, and it's a beautiful sight to see. I'm happy Annie is getting somewhere with him, and they seem to be getting closer every day. So not all bad news, right? Thanks again for the help. You guys really helped ease my mind with this situation. Please don't feel like an idiot anymore for making the right choice. Jack needs his mom more than he needs his aunt. Especially if his aunt brings nothing but negativity to his life. You made a really wonderful point about mental illness. If Annie was getting treated for cancer or had another chronic health condition, many wouldn't bat an eye. But when it comes to mental illness, society at large is still very judgmental. Things are getting better, but given your sister's attitude, we still have a long way to go. I'm glad Annie is doing better and her and Jack are getting closer every day. He is lucky to have such kind, loving parents who work together and put him first. Congrats OP, I wish the three of you all the happiness in the world. I've 26 been with my girlfriend 26 for 4 years, and we've recently been talking more and more about marriage. Although my girlfriend grew up relatively well off, for the time I've known her she's been pretty low maintenance. She's never cared about designer brands, rarely buys new clothes, and the jewelry she owns was gifted to her. I have a decent job now, $80K a year, and I've been saving for a while, but growing up my family didn't have a lot of money. My girlfriend and I have always seemed to be on the same page when it comes to saving money. I assumed she would be fine with a more affordable ring. When I started looking into rings, I discovered moissanite rings, which look similar to diamond rings but are much more affordable. I was looking at rings in the $1,500–$1,800 range. When I mentioned this to her, she insisted she wanted a real diamond ring and sent me links to a bunch of diamond rings that she liked. The prices ranged from $6,500–$10,000. I told her that I wasn't willing to spend that much. She seemed genuinely mad and said it wasn't that expensive. We got in a pretty big argument over it. I told her that it was ridiculous to ask me to spend that much and that I thought she was more reasonable than that. She said I was being cheap and that I could afford it, and that I was basically saying she wasn't worth it. I told her no one is worth a $10,000 ring. Eventually my girlfriend said she didn't care and that I should get whatever ring I want, but she's clearly still mad, and I know this is going to be an ongoing argument. I'm a bit frustrated because this seems out of left field. I've always known marriage is super important to her, but I didn't realize she'd insist on a diamond ring. So, I talked to my older sister about it, who despite agreeing diamond rings were stupidly priced, sided with my girlfriend and said if I could afford it, she didn't see the big deal. She added that my girlfriend has done so much for me and I was being an idiot about this. What my sister means by my girlfriend doing so much for me is that she was really supportive when I was in a serious car accident 4 years ago. I broke multiple bones and required a few surgeries. Although where I live most healthcare is covered, I was unable to work for a while and had expenses I wasn't able to pay. I had been dating my girlfriend for only 6 months at the time, and she was really there for me. I couldn't pay my rent, so she let me move in with her for free and helped pay for a few expenses and for physical therapy I needed. She also helped me get a job with her uncle, who was the VP of an insurance company. It was an entry-level position and I had a business degree, so it's not like I was unqualified. Obviously, I've thanked her for all she did for me, but it's not something we talk about much. I don't think I'm obligated to buy an expensive ring because she helped me out a few years ago. But if my own sister said this, I'm guessing my girlfriend must feel the way as well. Am I the idiot here? Gently, you are the idiot. I completely get not wanting to spend your money like that or put any coin into the pockets of the De Beers monopoly, but by saying no one is worth 10,000, you have inadvertently assigned monetary value to the woman you want to spend the rest of your life with. You both should sit down and look at alternatives together. Don't frame it as her not being worth it, try to educate her on the unethical nature of the diamond trade and see if she wants an alternative stone. This is a ring she's going to be wearing 24/7 for the rest of her life. That is a huge deal. By your own admission, she's not a materialistic person, this is just the one thing she wants. $6,000 spread out over the next 60+ years is absolutely a worthy investment for your future wife. It's not about you owing her for her helping you. She did that because she loves you. This girl never asks for anything, you should be doing this because you love her. It would be different if you straight up couldn't afford it, but clearly you can. So you have, in your own words, a pretty low-maintenance girlfriend. And she's asking you to splurge one time on the most important material item you can give to a romantic partner, an engagement ring. It's fine if an expensive ring isn't in the budget right now. But simply tell her that and continue to save up. If you really love this woman and appreciate the way she supported you after your accident, then you should want to return the favor in her own love language. Not belittle her by saying things like "I thought you were more reasonable than that." I, 19, recently moved in with my boyfriend, 20. Most of the expenses such as rent, food and furniture were paid from my money I've saved throughout my years in high school since it took some time for both of us to find a job. I currently work in a supermarket, which means I'm on my feet almost every day for 8 hours, sometimes I even work 9 or 10-hour shifts. My boyfriend starts work next month, which means he's home all the time playing games on my computer or watching videos and movies. Since I can barely even stand after I come home from work, this was the only job available. By the way, I needed something quickly. The only thing I want from him is household chores, such as washing the dishes or doing the laundry. I do the sweeping and mopping since he's bad at it. Recently, we've been fighting occasionally about the dishes and laundry not being done, even though it's the only thing I want from him. He always gets mad and says that he's not gonna do everything around the house just because he's at home all day. There currently isn't a single clean plate since he refused to do the dishes 3 days in a row. He told me to do the dishes myself if it bothers me, so much so I walked out of the house and went to work. Now he's not talking to me. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot for walking out. You're the idiot for dating him. You can defend him all you want, but he is immature and selfish, and relationships with immature and selfish people do not work out in the long run. His refusal to do the dishes and the laundry, even though he knows you are busting your butt and he has nothing better to do, is a gigantic red flag telling you that he is too immature to be living with someone he is dating. But since you clearly don't want to accept that, just save this post so that you can go back and read the comments after this relationship blows up in your face. Why do you describe it as you moving in with him when you're doing everything and so far paying for everything? Sounds like he's moved in with you, likely straight from his parents' place, since he thinks he doesn't have to do chores. The only good thing is that he won't be able to do less chores once he's working, because he's already doing none. But he's likely to get demanding about wanting more done by you, anyway. By the way, don't fall for the "I have to do the sweeping because he's bad at it" trick. And please remember, this is as good as this guy is going to get as a housemate if you can't get some hard and more equitable splits in place now. Sometimes things don't work out. He is showing you who he is, you should pay attention to it because it isn't going to get better. Think if this is how you want to spend the rest of your life. Say he does get a job, he is going to be even more entitled about not having to lift a finger at home because he now works so hard and has to relax playing video games. He can't step up and take care of the kids cause he works so hard. My office is only a couple miles from my house, so I usually go home for lunch every day. Since it is so close, I have time to do the dishes, take out the trash, switch the laundry, etc. before I go back to work. I find it's a nice use of my lunch break and helps to free up some time in the evening so I can relax more with my family. A couple weeks ago my wife had a few of her girlfriends over for drinks. I was in the other room watching TV, but I could hear them talking and laughing, and I heard my wife make a comment about how she has me trained so well I come home on my lunch break to do the dishes and called me her dish idiot. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Even if she was just joking with her friends, it felt really demeaning to me and felt like she was putting me down so that she could feel bigger in front of her friends. So, I didn't do the dishes or any other chores when I was home at lunch the next day. My wife gets home from work before me every day, and instead of coming home to a clean kitchen and empty sink, there are dishes piled up and the trash needs to be taken out, etc. When I got home, my wife was doing the dishes and told me I need to give her a hand because she needs to get dinner started. She asked if I came home for lunch that day and I said I did. She asked why I didn't do the dishes and I told her that her dish idiot was on strike. She stopped what she was doing and looked at me with her mouth open. I told her that yeah, I heard what she said and that I don't appreciate her putting me down to her friends just so that she can feel good about herself. She said she was just joking around and she doesn't really think about me that way. I told her she would flip her crap if she heard me talk about her that way to my friends. She said they were just joking around and it didn't mean she actually thought that. I told her I want to believe her, but I honestly don't think she was just joking. I told her I think I might just start going out to eat at lunch or take a lunch to the office from now on. She told me I was being petty and overreacting. I told her I don't think I am. She then asked if I was going to help her with the dishes so she can start dinner, and I said no, I don't think I will. I told her I will play with the kids to keep them distracted since we are having a later dinner that night. After the kids went to bed, she told me I was being an idiot about one little joke that she didn't even mean and I was blowing this way out of proportion. I told her she knows how much she'd freak out at me if I said something like that, so I don't think I'm overreacting at all. I told her respect goes both ways and she doesn't get to put me down to her friends to make her feel bigger. Not the idiot. Words have power and repercussions. She shouldn't be putting you down in any way, even jokingly. I think your response matched the crime. Honestly, I would do less on your lunch breaks, maybe just the trash, or just the dishes going forwards, since she wants to be demeaning, rather than grateful she has a supportive partner. She could have said how lucky she was, or how much she appreciated that you help out so much to make her life easier, but instead chose to be thoughtlessly rude in the name of humor. Putting it bluntly, if she won't say it unless she thinks you aren't around to hear it, it's because she knows it's not funny, it's rude. Secondly, there's an issue of the fact that she thinks it's okay to say things like that about her spouse. And when told it's hurtful, rather than apologizing, she doubled down that it's a you problem because it's just a joke. No, it wasn't, and I'd wonder what else she's been saying when you aren't there. I don't think your wife really is that much of an idiot for saying the joke in the first place. She was just trying to be funny in front of her friends, yes, by putting you down, but she most likely didn't mean anything by it or actually believe it. Hell, she probably didn't think you would even mind that much. What your wife is the idiot for is not listening to your complaints afterwards and apologizing when finding out that you were hurt by the joke. She can think it's a joke as much as she wants, but once she realizes it's hurt you, the behavior needs to change.